Yeah, and I love keeping people. One of my greatest pleasures is keeping people in the careers that they love to do because the careers pull on you. And I do a lot of classes called office therapy. I'll get into office therapy kicks a lot. I go in and out of kicks. Whatever conversations like ours today sparks me into a whole new way in my teaching for, another month, for the next month. But office therapy is a passion of mine because I have so many people, and office therapy could be anything. The dentist position is your office, right? So the office, whatever the office is, pulls on you. Hairdressers, the office is, here. But it's like, I want to keep people in the careers that they love to do through movement therapy, right? As well, that's my whole move young to live young thing, because what you're saying is, what'd you say, you're almost 60? Is that what you said?
Yes.
So, be very lucky to live to 90. And if you're already feeling some of these declines, then your 90s aren't looking very good. And to put it in the kindest way I can, and it is time to start. It is time to think about your 90s. And that is why I'm glad you're here. So that's perfect. And I can be 100% confident that I can help you. I can help you. But I was having a conversation after class today with a student, and she was like, whatever. I said, well, you know what? It's like, this only works if we meet 50-50. Like, the reason why this works so much is because people show up, they do the homework, they do it. Like, I'm going to give all three of you some homework, right? You're going to do the homework, and they follow through and they show up, because just because I say all these things, it doesn't work unless you guys do them all, right? So it's really together. We're so together. We depend on each other, right? So all the things you mentioned about feeling some of the age-related things that are happening are important to start to investigate through and figure our way out of them immediately, right? And then forever.
Right, because I'm starting to notice, like, if I talking about sitting for a little bit, if I sit too long, when I stand up, man, I sometimes have, I can feel it. I can feel that I'm having kind of trouble moving, and I didn't used to do that. And yes, and not just to keep working. I like to get out and do things, and I want to be able to keep going and enjoy life. Yeah.
Yes, there's that too. So let me ask you a question. When you say you feel it, is it in the muscles or in the joint, in the back? Is it?
I can't really tell, because the hips are what's really starting to give me a good bit of grief. I think it's the muscles. I'm pretty sure it is, because I've got one of those massage gun things, and if I do that on my glutes, I can feel it loosen up. So I think it's in the muscles.
Okay. So one thing that I love that you like that massage thing, but I also want you to do an internal massage vibration, which are our lymphatic jumps. So our lymphatic jumps are very important. Have you tried them yet?
No, I am so new. I did that class yesterday. I've looked at all the offerings you have, and I'm not even sure where I need to start.
I know.
So,
I know that.
Yeah.
I'm slimming down my site and I'm putting together programs. I don't know if you guys have seen the work I've done over the last couple of days, but I've really got these, have this idea I've always had this idea, this want, is that people follow programs, right? Like, you go from the beginning to an end of a program, then you go into the next program. And that's how because, just working on, Bruce Lee abs is not going to take you anywhere, but working on Bruce Lee abs. And then the next program is mobility flow and foot therapy. And then the next program is posture training and lymphatic health, right? So those programs just build on each other. So it's kind of where I'm going with the website, and we will figure out the direction for you guys now. But the best way, I believe, is, yes, the videos are a supplemental thing, but getting in front of me as much as you can, getting into as many live classes as possible. 90% of my community, they literally come to every live class on the schedule. I know that that's not, sometimes when people first start, they think, oh, I'll never be able to do that. But somehow my main people who have been with me, they have figured out a way. Like, Ken and Judy rescheduled their whole church schedule. Like, they used to go to church at these certain times, and they now go to a different church time just to get to class. So, but we start with just trying to just for me to say, get in front of me as much as you can, because it's connect. I'm teaching to whoever shows up. right? So if you're in that class, I'm actually teaching to you. I mean, yeah, so that's beneficial.
I could tell yesterday I was struggling with one of the moves, and you kind of stopped and explained that a little bit more. And I was like, wow, she's watching, she's seeing this. So that was great.
Yeah, and I'm feeling it. I know what's difficult. That I knew you were there for your first time, and I was able to kind of add that into my teaching. So it's good.
Yeah, that
So
was great.
get in front of me as much as you can. Also, we are going to, with the balance thing, I work on balance a lot. And in the balance, but I work on balance in a lot of different ways. So it's not one way, but I am telling you this X like thing that I'm really focusing on right now. This is going to help with balance. People think it's a lot in the core, or it is in the feet and in the core. Don't get me wrong. But if we don't have this like upper body pull and lift, it's very hard to continue balance throughout. So that's like that X is like posture training. So I would say I would put you maybe into the posture and poise summer challenge
Okay.
program. And I'm saying that because I think posture training might be a great way for you to start your thing because of balance.
Sounds
I
good.
think you have access to that, but if you don't, you just let me know, okay? And just do that at your own pace and then come to as many live classes as you can, okay?
Yeah, I can right now. I can do the weekend ones. I'm out the door by 7 my time, which is when most of your weekday classes start. I'm out the door, but I can do the weekend one. So
Right.
we'll, yeah.
Mobility flow and bar flow is a perfect combo. It's a perfect combo. It's a perfect way to release the 5 days of dental of the office. Okay.
Yeah.
Posture training is also going to release the office. Okay.
Okay.
So posture and poise, I think that's for sure for you. Okay.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. I'm glad you're saying that because I kind of want to explain that's exactly what I mean by chase your feel good. You know what feels good. You intuitively know what feels good. So if I'm moving you in any class and you lift your arm and you're like, Melanie, you're like, oh, my right side is not ready for that stretch. Don't just pop out of it or force your way into it. That's that idea of Ue. Come out of it slowly and then just kind of find your way around it. Chase your feel good. Find your feel good. So, Kate, I love that you are saying that. And not that,
like I connect with that same line story. That's the line that goes all the way from the big toe. And now it's over the course of like 6 years. It's like slowly getting more and more. And I haven't gotten a bunion yet, but it's on its way.
okay, so you need immediately the class that I have. It's a video that's up right now. I believe it's still under the therapy of the day, but if not, it doesn't matter. I'll get it to you. It's the big toe alignment. We use the black resistance band and it just pulls the big toe away from this position. And the more you have to, so whatever your shoes that you're working in the office, whatever is pulling the big toe over here. So you have to reverse what the office does to you every day. Just like you have to reverse what the office does to you every day by doing posture training really quick, right? You have to reverse the office on your feet too. So if your toe is going this way, spend some time using a resistance band to pull it this way. And then try to keep it that way, but it will eventually go this way because you said it's about 6 years, it's gotten over there. So it's going to take time, but the more you reverse it, eventually it will stay. Okay. Okay. So make sure you do that. Or I'll look for it, but that's definitely a homework assignment for you. Kate, so you've aligned your big toes just inwardly, huh? Because Pada Bandha, do you still do Pada Bandha?
Yeah, I mean, here's my foot, right? It's like still
Yeah.
dirty and gross and just like very straight.
Yes. Kate was with me when I started this whole foot, like, we're talking about the feet.
Yeah. I had the opposite problem with the band. My toes were like, I had to really keep trying to pull my toe in because my toe joints are so flexible.
Okay, good. So that's great that you have to add strength to them because they're too flexible. Being too mobile and too loosey-goosey is just as dangerous as being too rigid and pulled. So I actually think that you need that black band thing. So, because that's the way you're going to actually activate this area that needs, where your joint needs support, right? So you just would be doing it for a different reason than Melanie. Okay, so, and that's the thing, that's what's so hard, is that these movements are all movements, but they are also kind of prescribed differently depending on what each body is going through, which is why these monthly meetings are going to be so important, so that we can talk and I can make little adjustments to things as we go along. So Kate, how else are you feeling up the line, and what are your goals? What would you like?
Yeah, there's like a couple things. Like I think I want to get a lot stronger. My joints feel more supported, but not like stiff strong, you know? There's the running thing, which I'm signed up for a half next January, and I haven't gone for a run in like 3 months because it kept hurting. I also have like over the past like 5 years, I've slowly started to round and just like get really tight and tense up in here. So like a lot of that opening, and like anytime I lift my arms up for too long, and like we were doing like that, a lot of that movement, I get really like tense and a little dizzy. So
Okay. So a couple things. I'm just going to start blurting things out. We'll see what happens. So one thing is that we have a tendency when the arms go up, watch here really quick, that we shrug and we kind of use these muscles, and you see kind of where my chest is, and it's almost like I get here. So instead of pushing the arms all the way up, like lift here and then take the arms out like wider instead of here, like almost reach out wider here, but also lift your chest. Now just slowly start to draw the bottom part of your shoulder blades together. And you see kind of how my palms are? They're at like this angle. And now breathe up through the ribs and then draw through the back. And now from the inner arms lower. Yeah, I know. Try being a teacher. That happens to me on video. If anybody ever sees me do that on video, it's not my fault. When you're open up your lungs like that, it's like, but could you feel less holding it here in a shrug and more holding it here in the posture?
feel it there. I don't feel it so much here. I
Oh.
feel it like up the top of the shoulder and down the arms. Like this is why I
Ooh.
always hated yoga sculpt, because doing that was always super uncomfortable for me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you also have some trauma there.
Yeah.
Because you use the word hate. You're like,
Alright. So you're like, okay, sculpt flow immediately.
If I were to have to do yoga sculpt all over again, one, in sculpt flow, when I teach sculpt flow, I never have them down like this. They're always like this, right? But two is that I wouldn't have people just hold their arms out. I teach it the way I teach T right now, arms out, but it's posture that's holding the arms out here. It's not even this line. It's this line. Because right now it's almost like you're activating these muscles to hold up for dear life. And they get like overworked and too much is going on like right through here. And I'm just wondering if there's a way we could just find a way and almost just practice that, almost like it's posture and then a half T float and then let it go down. And then it's like posture first and then arms, and then posture first and then arms. Because a lot of times we just move from here. And when you move like this is that line you're talking about. When it's just the arms lifting, this line is like, right? But when it's like posture first, it creates space for the arms to float, not lift. Too strong and hypermobile in the joints, but too strong, but we're lacking some fluidity. Do you feel that, or?
It's like lacking fluidity and stability, because it's like I'm strong, but like it also is like hard for my wrists to like hold a plank for a long time or like do other things. So yeah.
Right.
It's just not all working together, you know?
Right. I tell my clients this all the time because I train my clients in this, and it's a couple, so it's a guy. And I always remind him, I'm like, Blake, I'm telling you, guys that are lifting 300 pounds in the gym, they could not move their body the way you're moving your body in this gym right now. Like, because I'm not making him lift weights or anything like that, but he is just getting so agile, and he can be so close to the ground and be nimble, right? And I do think nimbleness is just as important as our strength and our power and our flexibility. So maybe it's, let me keep thinking, okay, Kate? Let me keep thinking. But for now, just keep coming to live classes and we'll figure this out together. And I think I need to put together, I think I have a database of side bend flow movement therapy classes. And I think I want you to do some side bend movement therapy classes, because I want you to expose that right side of yours. I want you to say, hey, hello, me, right? There's no more, let's stop hurting. Let's leave that fall behind. There's no reason to be scared anymore, right? Like, let's just move and breathe. And I just think a daily side bend movement therapy could be just that way of almost awakening this area that you've protected for so many years. Do you like that idea? Now listen, you're not going to be able to side bend the way I'm going to look like I'm side bending. You're going to find the smallest movement, okay? And then it's almost like, think about this side of your body as a sleeping, hibernating bear. You don't want to stab the bear and wake it right up. Or a sleeping child. You don't want to just shake a sleeping child awake. You want to coo it awake, right? Like, come on, babe. It's almost time to wake up.
Well, let me say this, because I think you and I have talked about this way back almost a year ago, but being a dental assistant, I'm knees to the right, resting my left elbow on a chair and rotating and right arm up, suctioning. Because I had
You got your toes probably trying to grab the ground.
Yeah, but except for 10 years, the dentist I worked for was nearly 7 foot and I'm 5 foot. So I was up in the air gripping my toes onto the little bar around the bottom. And then, so this right side is stayed activated for so long that through that psoas muscle, it's all irritated. And then the left side is crunched down.
Okay.
And it's just so much solid, just and so this side almost feels really loosey-goosey. I get my ribs out of place all the time on the right, but the left side is just solid.
Okay. So each side bend rotation is a different movement prescription, because these muscles have been forced open into a held stretch. So they're weak. You loosey-goosey, weak. They're weak. They don't do anything. These have been asked to be too strong for too long, but they also just can't be, right? So they can't be stretched. It's that same thing that we talked about with your neck thing, right? These can't be stretched because the office has put you in this position. So it's like waking up a bear. You're just going to kind of rock your way out of it, right? Kind of make these stretch and make these strength train, because the true way to side bend is that this side engages, this side stretches, and then this side engages, and then these muscles stretch. So if you use the side bend flow to use your muscles to move the spine instead of just moving the spine, because it can move when you're coming into it. Let me just stand back. Let me just give you an example. Okay, so when I come here, this is your tight side. So when I come here, look here. I want you to lift this shoulder a little bit. Create a little space for a side bend to lift, and then come back and use those muscles. And now stretch them, and now come back and use those muscles. So you're not just stretching this area, you're almost like pumping that area. You know, it's like a stretch and then engage, a stretch and engage. It's like a gentle shake. Come on, let's go. It's time to wake up and go to work, instead of get up, it's time to go to work, right? Because this would be get up, it's time to go to work, right? This would be, come on, honey, just kind of go to work. Instead, you just want to be like, come on, let's go, it's time. So it's that in and out instead of just a stretch or just accept as is. You want to kind of coax it out. Now this side is kind of out there, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to come into this one and almost over accentuate it and maybe hang out on this side for a little bit. And then come up, and then maybe don't go all the way. Maybe it's just a gentle lengthening. And then you come in and give it a big crunch. Closing, focusing on the ribs, closing the ribs. So kind of pull the armpit in. You know, on this side, I asked you to lift the shoulder to create room for that stretch. But on this side, focus on taking your armpit and crunching it so that we can close those ribs, because you said verbally they're held open all the time.
Yes. When
Yeah.
I did that, the muscle went, ah, but I could go a little less, you know, I can find that sweet spot between not feeling great, right? Like I can ease into that strain
Totally.
just as I'm easing this other side to lengthen, right?
Think of those muscles in that area just as somebody that was like, I'm going to go to the gym and do squats, and they've been sitting on the couch for 6 weeks, and then they go and do a set of 10 squats, 4 rounds. Those muscles are going to be like, just like these, the same thing. So just think of that. You're just making the muscles work, and they're like, I don't really want to work. I haven't had to work for a long time. Now I'm crying like a baby. That's what that is. So don't stay away from that too much. Kind of be like, no, you're okay. It's time to work a little bit. I just am saying there's a fine line on that ooh-way line, right? Sometimes when the pain is there, we tend to stay a little bit too far back. And I kind of want you to make those muscles cry a little bit in a good way, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I knew where you were going, but I just wanted to give you permission to flirt with your upper ooh-way edge.
Yes.
Okay, and not hold back because they screamed at you a little bit. Instead, be like, you're fine, you're fine. Somatic training. All right, so I think, do you guys have any questions? I think that we have some progress, right? Some stuff to work on.
I got a plan.
Yeah, so you're going to start on posture and poise. Melanie, you're going to work on some side bend. Kate, we're going to work on fluidity and agility and nimbleness and have a little fun, right? And like I said, you keep coming to all the live classes, get in front of me as you can, but I want to see if I can get you floating and feeling this way.
Yeah, that's how I want to feel.
Good, then we're on the same path. As well, Kate, though, I also would like to be very much a part of that, you know, let's get you to that marathon, and let's get you out of that marathon without, you know, injury, right? Let's prepare you for that. So I do believe posture training is also very important, because posture training makes you lighter on your feet. And the lighter you are on your feet, the less impact to your ankle and your knees and your hips and your lower back. So I believe that upper body posture training, those specific resistance bands, right? Even though, and that just comes back to the whole thing too about not lifting here, but really activating those V muscles. So what Melanie was saying was like, she was like, I kind of want to stay away from this area, right? And I told her, don't. You are in that ow kind of same thing where Melanie was at. I actually want you to drop below it. So right where it activates, that line you're talking about, drop below that line. Lift the chest and work here. Okay, so with Melanie, I actually wanted her to flirt with this edge. With you, I don't. I want you to come lower behind it. Okay?
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.